What up, guys? Mad Viking here. I'm back. Figured I'd make a video before I run out the door here. Got to go pick some people up. To basically get a video out that isn't just AEW stuff, because my last few videos, that's all it's been, is AEW stuff. I'm not even going to get into other stuff. But this is a wrestling news update video. A lot of stuff's gone down. So I'm just going to jump into it. There's been more updates on firings. More words have gotten out. Nigel McGuinness was furloughed. Furloughed is a nice word for fired, but not fired. But you're not paid when you're furloughed, at least not in the WWE case. Some cases you are. I'm sure he'll come back, but that's going to be when there's obviously TV, I guess. But I don't know that they would let him go permanently anyway. So that one, because he's stuck in the UK, and I guess they didn't want to pay him while he's sitting over there because he's an announcer. So they also it came out that Rachel Evers, aka Rachel Ellering, was let go. She's another one from NXT gone. The WWE did let it be known that anybody that was fired so far from NXT has no chance of being re-signed. So there's some hate for these NXT guys that were let go, that's for sure. Gerald Briscoe was let go, which is shocking. Maybe it's because he's close to retirement and he's a high salary employee. I don't know. Would he come back later if they offer him I don't know if they offered him his job back. But that one's like, really? Gerald Briscoe is fired? They let go Curtis Axel. That was one name I called out when this all started. How does he still have a job? Not that he's a horrible wrestler, but they obviously want to do nothing with him. So he's just a guy collecting checks, basically. After the B team got over and they won the belts, I mean, how long ago was that? When was the last time him and Dallas were even seen on TV? Dallas obviously still has his job because of his connections to the family. You don't want to piss off one of your hottest stars that they let your brother go, now do they? They also fired Cain Velasquez, which they should have never hired in the first place. He was injured. He needs knee surgery. From what I understood, he was supposed to have gone and got it, but he never did. So basically, all they did was rush to sign him because AEW was going to sign him. They got their one little confrontation with Brock Lesnar in a garbage match, and that was it. So Kane's gone. SmackDown writer Chris DeJoseph was recently fired. He wasn't a part of these mass firings, but he was fired. Cat, come on. Thank you. But he was fired. Did I just say he was, if you don't know who that is Big Dick Johnson. He was recently hired back in the last year or so. He was responsible for the launch of Lucha Underground. He was one of the co-founders. He was recently with MLW with all their popular backstage promos and skits that were basically copied by NXT. He was responsible for that. Now, apparently he got into some tiff with Vince, and that was it. He was fired. And he recently had gotten a promotion to whatever his head promoter, or not promoter, producer, whatever it was. And this was back in December, so something had to have happened big time, and this dude was let go. Rick Steiner's son, Bronston Rothstein, whatever it is, I wrote it very small, signs with the Ravens. Now, if I remember right, when I saw the clip of this, man, that dude looks exactly like Scott Steiner. I would maybe go get my my son DNA tested, because he looks nothing like Daddy. But then again, so do Matt Jackson's kids. They look just like Nick. Identical. It's scary. WWE is rumored to be sold to Disney. God, I hope that doesn't happen. I can't even imagine. Not that WWE is putting out great stuff right now, but I mean, if they go to Disney, the product's going to change even worse. It's going to just be this kid-friendly garbage crap. You're going to see your WWE stars in Disney World and stuff like that doing signings and meet and greets and God knows what else. God, are they in that bad a shape that they're even considering this? And I guess everything would be moved to what? Disney Plus? Ugh. God, God, this has been a while. I think Owens is back now. Owens out with a fractured back from mania injury from jumping off the sign, but like I just said, he's obviously back at this point, but that was a few months away. He's a little bit of a big dude to be jumping off of signs through tables, but he did it. Jimmy Uso out 6 to 9 months with a knee injury from his Mania ladder match. That's probably why we're seeing Jay doing some singles stuff recently. Mysterio's contract is ending soon, and of course he's getting buried because he hasn't signed a new contract. But now all of a sudden they're pulling Dominic Mysterio back on TV. It's been noted that Mysterio signed with the WWE so his son could train at the Performance Center and potentially become a superstar. And from what I read when I originally wrote this down is that his son has not yet, not from his own volition, started one single day of training at the Performance Center. So obviously it was a ploy just to get Mysterio to sign with WWE and not AEW. So his contract's coming up here pretty soon. And yes, Mysterio has been back on TV, but he is sort of getting buried, is he not? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Adam Cole's contract is also coming up very soon. The current NXT World Champion. He's been seen at a lot of AEW events recently, and yeah, people could say, yeah, that's because his girlfriend works there. But he was at the Memorial Day AEW party taking a lot of photos, let's just say that. I can see him going there. Maybe he's frustrated. I mean, he's been in NXT since 2017, and he still hasn't been called up to the main roster. I think it's a good thing if he goes, personally. That's a guy that I would love to see join AEW and join his friends. Out of all the friends they hire, I would love to see Adam Cole go. Because, yes, they call him the next HBK, which I haven't heard them say in a while. But that's high praise for a guy who's in purgatory on NXT. Yeah, he's rewarded with the longest NXT title reign, but that's obviously to keep him happy and not have him be frustrated. I want to see better things for him. So let's see what happens with that. Lynch, scheduled to join the MCU. Character yet to be determined or named, but that was before the bun in her oven started forming. So I don't know if that's going to throw a wrench in the works. A lot of speculation was she was going to be the Jean Grey in X-Men, but I mean, that's a big role, and she's done some acting. I haven't seen any of it, but a lot of it I think was WWE movies, which aren't usually very well produced or acting wise. So hopefully that doesn't ruin whatever she was going to do. It was talk she was either going to be Jean Grey. I can't remember the other one. But of course, it's both characters with red hair. Alberto Del Rio arrested for sexual assault. If sentenced and found guilty, he can get 10 to 20 years in prison. He was basically, I don't know if this was his girlfriend or who it was, but he basically kept some chick hostage, made her do a series of things. It didn't get into depths, but if he's being charged for sexual assault, that there's some sexual activity there. When this was written, or when I read this, he kept some chick hostage, made her do things like put on a dress and dance for him provocatively. He wouldn't let her go. I think he slapped her around a little bit. His mugshot for this, he had more than just crazy eyes. He looked like he had meth eyes. He did not look sane. Like I said, there was rumors still that he was coming back to the WWE, but I think those rumors are going to end now. That's probably going to be the last we see of Alberto Del Rio. SummerSlam, which is still supposed to be in Boston, but I think the WWE's finally seen the light, and it's probably not going to happen there. There's rumors that it could happen at Hogan's private beach behind his house in Clearwater. It'll be interesting if that happens, but I can't imagine their neighbors and how they're going to control the public from going into this or not crashing this. But it will be interesting. It'll make for a cool scene. Especially you could have Hogan sitting on his patio watching SummerSlam. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I just mentioned that earlier. Lynch drops the belt because of pregnancy to Asuka. Sami Zayn stripped of the IC title belt for basically not showing up for tapings because he's afraid of the coronavirus stuff. I don't think he has any medical issues. He's just one of the people who didn't show. And of course, the WWE said there wouldn't be any backlash to performers who didn't feel comfortable about coming to tapings. Obviously, that doesn't play into the hands of Sami Zayn, who isn't that high up in the food chain of WWE. Yeah, Daniel Bryan's got away with it for a while, so did Kevin Owens, and a few other people, but not Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was, in my opinion, gifted the IC title. I'm not saying he should have been like, oh, screw it, I got to put myself at risk. But I think a lot of his actions were due, in fact, because his good buddy Owens was doing it and getting away with it. And of course, there was supposed to be a tournament, I think, set up for a new champion. I've got so many episodes of SmackDown backlogged, I don't even know if there is a new champion yet. Sting's contract with WWE expired. There was rumors he was going to AEW. He was going to show up at Double or Nothing, and I scratched my head on that one. Yeah, it'd be cool to see him in a ring, but do you really want to see him wrestle? I don't even remember what his age is, but I haven't seen what he looks like in a while either. Is he even in any shape? But he didn't show up at Double or Nothing, but the expiration of his contract, I guess, now meant that his Legends figure was just now canceled too. But it was another Sting Crow figure. I mean, we've gotten a million of those. It's not a big deal. But it was a little weird considering that the WWE just discovered that they can extend Undertaker's career by having these cinematic matches. And the discussions was being kicked around that we could finally get Sting versus Undertaker because it wouldn't look like a sloppy train wreck in a wrestling match in a ring in an arena somewhere. They could have these cinematic matches. But obviously there would have to be huge build-up for that. Sting and Undertaker. But right now Sting is not under a contract and not signed with AEW. After WrestleMania and the cinematic success match that he had Undertaker in the Boneyard match, WWE signed Undertaker to a new 15-year deal, which would make him under contract until he is 70 years old, which would be until 2038. Now, I think they were very high on his match at Mania because of the cinematic deal. But a 15-year contract, no word on what they're paying him. I mean, he was averaging, I think it was $2 million a year for basically one or two matches, notwithstanding the Saudi Arabia matches, which I think if Jericho got $3 million to just show up to be in a Battle Royal match, I'm sure Undertaker's getting paid a lot more than that. So Undertaker ain't going anywhere. He ain't doing StarCasts. He ain't doing meet and greets. None of that stuff. WWE has locked him down. AEW posts net growth for April, which means they posted a profit, which is through online merch sales and whatever else not, which is good. They're not in the red line, but it did follow up this article that I read that said due to this current pandemic, the situation of no fans, no merch, etc., that they may have to start doing releases soon. But obviously that hasn't happened yet, and this is kind of an old post. This is probably 3 to 4 weeks old. AEW's video game has been delayed, which was, I think, supposed to have been released possibly this year or next due to the pandemic. So it is what it is. Devon announces in-ring retirement. I could have sworn Devon was already retired from the ring when he took the producer role, but whatever. He claims he's never wrestling again. So happy retirement. Hope you keep your job, Devon. Shad Gaspard, dead, drowned. Eventually his body did wash up on shore 3 days later. He was swimming in the ocean with his son right around the time when the beaches first opened back up in California. He and his son and quite a few other people, from what I read, were caught in these riptides. And I guess there was some hellacious waves out there. When the lifeguards got remotely close to him, it was said he shoved his son towards the lifeguard and told him to take his son before they could rescue him. And as they started swimming back to shore with his son, a huge wave came up, hit Shad, and he never reappeared. His wife and son basically sat on the beach for days and hoped that he was going to be found alive. Shad is now up. Well, people, wrestlers, fans are asking for Shad to be considered for the next Warrior Award. And if he gets it, he'll be the first ever wrestler ever awarded the prize, which I think he's more than worthy of. He also earlier, was it last year? He broke up a armed robbery in a gas station, stopped the guy. I mean, he's more than worthy of the Warrior Award. So cross your fingers for that. Start the movement. Michael Mansour? I just can't read my writing here. Michael Mansour leaves the WWE. He was Triple H's right-hand man. He was going to be the replacement for Kevin Dunn at some point when Triple H and whatever took power. The word was he was burned out and just quit. But I mean, if you were going to be the next Kevin Dunn, he had to have been very well compensated. But I mean, it's quite a lot of work and effort to work in the WWE, especially as a writer or backstage person. So maybe it was just too much. You couldn't take it. The Revival was being sued by the indie tag team, The Revolt, because the Revival was supposedly taking their name. The Revolt are actually friends with the Revival, which is weird because they can't say they didn't know that there was already a team called the Revolt. So the Revolt gave them a cease and desist order. But since then, that's all been worked out. The Revival is not the Revolt. They are known as FTR and AEW. They made their appearance last week. Mark Henry threatens to sue Lio Rush. This just sounds so childish and pathetic. This all started, last year with Leo's issues with the WWE when he was complaining about money, saying he's scraping by to survive. He really wasn't being paid that much. You got to take into effect that you pay for your hotels, your travel, your rental cars. Yeah, they pay for your airfare, but I mean, if you're traveling every week, you know how expensive rental cars are, let alone a decent hotel room. That's $100 a night, plus, depending on where you stay. So Mark Henry injected himself into that and basically told him to suck it up and blah, 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 blah. And I guess their little online beef has been going on ever since then. Lio Rush even made a rap song about Mark Henry or something, and Mark Henry is going to sue him because he's defaming his character or something and questioning his blackness. It just sounds so stupid. Mark Henry's going to sue an out-of-work wrestler over a Twitter feud. It's just whatever. Haven't heard anything else about this. This article or whatever is already a few weeks old, but still, it's so stupid. Amber Moon's career possibly over. She injured her Achilles tendon doing one of those stupid chase scenes for the 24/7 title. I've not only injured my Achilles tendon in the past, I've had it severed and clear through. And I know it's a long rehab. You wear an awkward cast for months, and then I had slight rehab. But I mean, how hard was her? I don't know if she strained it, pulled it, if it ripped off the bone. Even if she did, mine was sliced in half by a screen door. And I can walk, I'm fine. But I guess the injury was so severe that she was recently discussing how her career is potentially over by being wasted in a stupid skit chasing somebody for the title. So she's not exactly happy over it. Rumors are Vince is buying back the XFL through bankruptcy, but then basically this was becoming major news, and he recently denied this happening. I think he was doing that because he was trying to avoid the lawsuits that were coming from everybody else that was involved in the XFL, because Vince claimed bankruptcy, and then he fired a bunch of people who were guaranteed being paid X amount of money no matter what, and they were fired and let go, and these people were starting the lawsuit. We'll have to see how that goes. I hope the XFL comes back. I was really enjoying watching football in the offseason. But then, of course, hysteria and panic ensued over the coronavirus, and that was the death of the XFL for the second time. Tennessee All-Pro. This is a couple weeks old because I was telling my friend who runs the mall shows that Tennessee All-Pro recently was the first indie company to run a show in the United States again. They had permission from the government, from county, and basically you had to go wearing a mask, and there was sanitizer at the door. So indie stuff is starting back up. Supposedly the mall shows are starting up here in this month, and there's another show having a free show in a parking lot on the 20th or 21st. So that's a sign. at least something's starting. I said somebody had to do it. I really thought the WWE was going to be the first to do it. They'll probably be the first major promotion. Well, they're running shows, but they're not letting fans in. So cross your fingers. Hopefully this gets worked out here faster than later. It was said that Flair was gone from the WWE. His contract expired, but this has been worked out. It hasn't said what they've signed him to. He did say it's not like a lifetime contract like Undertaker, and he didn't say how much he's being paid. I'm sure he's just happy he's getting money, because I think he was pretty pissed off that other people, older wrestlers, have contracts with the WWE, and he didn't, hence his lawsuit about the man stuff. He never, under my understanding, trademarked the phrase the man or any of that crap, but he saw dollar signs and, of course, took the WWE to task over it. And they wanted to keep him happy, obviously, so they gave him a contract, gave him a deal. But it was only for, I guess, a year. But now he is back, signed. I thought that would have been interesting if he was let go, because AEW could bring him in for something. I mean, it wouldn't be wrestling, even though he talks about coming back to wrestle, having more matches. He's training. I've seen the videos. He thinks he's coming back to wrestle. But it would be cool because AEW would have 3 of the 4 original Horsemen on contract. Just think of the stories like, Dinner for 3 or stuff like that they could do. Or just Flair being involved in the product. But that's not going to happen now. This was funny. This, I'm shocked, didn't become more of a thing. Undertaker recently let it be known to the world that he's afraid of cucumbers. And he's like, I'm not deathly afraid, but if somebody brings a cucumber into the room, I will get up and leave. And it makes me think of those cat videos of people putting cucumbers on the floor next to their cats and their cats spaz out. And he's like, what makes cucumbers even worse if somebody comes into the room with cut up cucumbers? So I was like, man, this is really going to open Undertaker open up to a lot of pranks, I think, from the boys. But it was just a thing on the news or on the internet or whatever for a day, and you never heard anything else about it. So I'm bringing it back up. The sad thing here, Stardom's Hana Kimura committed suicide. Everybody knows this story now, but they might not know all of it. She was being cyberbullied online from a Netflix show she had done, and I guess somebody was doing laundry or wanted to do laundry, and her stuff was in the washing machine or going in something, and a male roommate did something with her laundry, threw it in the washing machine and shrunk it, and she took him to task over it. This was the same garb she wore for Wrestle Kingdom at the New Japan show, which featured the first. She was one of the 4 women to be one of the first 4 women to ever wrestle on a New Japan card. So it was a big deal, and obviously that outfit probably meant something to her. Well, I think she slapped the guy, and social media attacked her and never stopped attacking her. People were wishing death on her. Granted, the time zones are different. She was posting stuff on Twitter, and it was like 4 a.m. in Japan, so everybody in Japan wasn't noticing it because they were in sleep. They were in bed, likely, or probably. But Kira Zane was awake here, seeing it. She was trying to get in contact with Hana, which I guess they didn't have any correspondence. But Kira was contacting friends and other wrestlers in Japan to go and check up on her. I mean, we don't totally know what happened because the family asked for it to be silent, but she was releasing photos of her cutting herself on Twitter with statements like, I'm weak, I'm sorry, but all I wanted to be was loved. So basically, Sane is the reason people went and checked up on her, and Sane was a close friend of her. She was said to be crushed. It is very tragic. I think it's really stupid. She was 22 years old, getting cyberbullied. I mean, the bullying I took growing up alone. I'm not even going to get into it, but I mean, everybody's different. But hopefully it opens an eye. I mean, what she did wasn't a big deal. What the guy did wasn't a big deal, but I could see the items meant something to her, and this is the end result. There's a girl dead now. She had a bright future. She was an up-and-coming female wrestler in Japan, very popular. So now they're pushing for like internet laws, cyberbullying in Japan because of the incident. Another Mark Henry thing here. He is petitioning to play Darkseid and the Snyder Cut, which will be on HBO Plus. I thought this was the Snyder Cut to Justice League. I thought was already filmed, but we got the studio cut that they wanted to see, which was nothing like his cut, which is supposed to be phenomenal. Ben Affleck, all the stars in the movie backed it. That's the Snyder Cut was eons better and what was supposed to be produced. So this version of the movie was supposed to be, I originally thought was going to be released in movies, but of course not because of the pandemic. It's going to be on HBO Plus. But like I said, from my understanding, the movie was already filmed. But maybe I'm wrong, because Mark Henry is petitioning to play Darkseid, who was hinted at coming in Justice League. If you know who Darkseid is, he's basically DC's version of Apocalypse. He definitely has the body mold and size. I just don't know that he has the acting chops, but whatever. If he gets it, he gets it. It would be cool to see him do it. Drew Gulak contract was up. He never re-signed. Rumors he was going to AEW, which obviously didn't happen. But he is re-signed to X amount of years. Don't know how much. It wasn't released, but Gulak is back after all of that. Deonna Purrazzo has popped up in Impact. She is on like a tryout phase. I'm shocked she's there. I think she's there just because she can get some work. But I predicted she'll end up in Ring of Honor to be with her boyfriend, who holds all the power basically of the company. But it doesn't mean she won't be back. A lot of these free agent wrestlers are getting wise to the fact that they don't need to sign with a company. They can work here, they can work there, they can work in New Japan, and they make more money than they did when they had WWE contracts. So that is obviously something wrestlers are doing now. So Donna Purrazzo is in Impact, at least for now. Let's see what happens. The TNA Asylum is scheduled to be demolished, which I already knew that. That's why I wanted to go to the NWA, whatever it was, 75-year anniversary that happened last year. They had a big card for that because I wanted to be there at least once in my life to, I had to make sure I was at the Minnesota Vikings old dome for a few matches against my Bucks versus the Vikings, obviously, before they demolished that. And I really do kick myself. I didn't go to that show. I forget what I ended up going to instead. But yes, the TNA Asylum will be no more soon. Sucks. There was a scheduled Nexus reunion of sorts that was going to be at Mania, which was going to be involved in the Bray Wyatt John Cena match. What was it, the Funhouse match? When they were doing were they flashbacks, or it was supposed to be mind effing from Bray's part onto Cena. There was going to be a part where they were going to show Cena burying the Nexus from back in the day. Now, granted, who the hell PJ Polacco, or whatever his name is now, on Ring of Honor and Impact, he was scheduled to be back. I mean, I don't know who else was going to be there. It certainly wasn't going to be Wade Barrett, and it certainly wasn't going to be Ryback. I guess it could have been, what was the other guys? I can't even remember their names. Yeah, it wasn't going to be Heath Slater. They just fired Heath Slater. And who, I can't remember the one guy I think still has a job, the guy that was married to the singer Hudson, whatever her name is, but I'm not sure. And the other dude, I don't want to say what was his name? Trevor? I don't know. But I don't know how many people were going to be involved. But that was going to make that part, which I thought that the Funhouse match was great. That would have made it even better to show back in the day of Cena burying the Nexus. But it never happened. Doesn't mean it won't happen in the future, but why would they bring them back? What would be the point at this point if Cena's gone? What is this crap is like running up my head. So that didn't happen. Sarah Logan, which was supposed to be rumored to be coming back to Raw, but it never happened. They brought her in for a few shows, but never put her on TV. I scratched my head at her firing. But anyways, she and Rowe have recently bought 50-something acres in Ohio. They're starting their own off-grid home site. But she is currently training for an MMA career. I think she's probably hoping that she has a successful career, and at some point WWE will here's money, come back to us. She's still young and whatever, but I mean, MMA is not an easy career to jump into, but good luck. I mean, I'm happy for her. WWE refs and producers are being forced to take a 20% pay cut because of, obviously, the no traveling, the no fans. Money is not circulating like it used to for the company. Angle returning to the WWE. Supposedly he turned down a contract offer. He also turned down an offer to manage Matt Riddle on SmackDown. He said it wasn't the time or the place for it, which I find weird. But he's turning down a job. But that was a thing. Clutch Adams. Gosh, what is he? Where is he known for? Clutch Adams. I can't remember what indie fed he wrestles for. He was recently pulled from AEW Dark because somebody scoured his Twitter feed from, I forget, 8 years. He was 19 when he made these posts on Twitter. And of course, because he was brought in, AEW woke fans scoured his page, and he got pulled from it. He'll probably pulled from AEW Dark and probably never used it again. Now, from what it was, he was talking crap with his friends about football draft picks or something. I don't remember. They were discussing football, and it was supposed to be like a private conversation between him and his friends. And he was using some words, but he wasn't typing them out to what they were supposed to be. He called Tony Romo a homo or something. And of course, somebody saw that and sent it directly to Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, and he was done. He was gone. CZW legend Danny Havoc found dead at 34. I can't remember if he committed suicide or he was just found dead, but I mean 34. He was very influential in training lots of current top stars of companies, including Jon Moxley and Drew Gulak. I could name probably a dozen more, but it's not crossing my mind right now. So the industry is hurting with his death. Moxley releases pic of injury that he received at Double or Nothing. It was from the ramp spot, which I said I don't think was totally planned, and it makes a lot of... Oh, I got to cut this off. I'm running out of time, right? Yeah. All right, sorry, guys. My news report's being cut short. Jon Moxley broke his tailbone. Hit like, leave a comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Mad Viking out. I'll catch you in the next video. Man, I've never gone 32 minutes before. I'll keep going until it's banned. Hogan's banned from AEW. Gronk uses release clause from the WWE to go back and play football. DDP passes the diamond cutter on to QT Marshall. Dream could be called up soon to the main roster along with Chelsea Green and Io Shirai. 7 fired wrestlers tease coming to Impact. Arn signs new long-term deal with AEW. Did I get it all in? I think I did. Anyways, guys, that is it. Mad Viking out. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.